back to Blast R6 Europe League, where we are getting ready to head into our second game. That'll be Secret versus Koi, and for both these teams it really matters a lot in regards to their position in the group. Koi had an 0-7, then a rest day. Secret currently third in the group. They will say they'll make it to the major, but they did actually lose their last game as well.
And I think that's the big thing about Team Secret for us is when we come into a stage, we kind of set a barometer of where we think the team is going to be. We said we can't really decide how they're going to go when they play against ITB because, you know, they were perceived to be the worst team in the league. Then they go up against VP, who was perceived to be the top team in their group, and kind of succumb to that VP paradox. Do we really know what level Secret are at is ultimately the question that I am asking myself. Now, in terms of this graphic here, the one thing I will say is Grubby is having an excellent stage for Team Secret. I think, you know, they're maybe a little bit top heavy, that over 2 games, Grubby has sustained a 2.0 KD in professional play, despite not playing, you know, the entry, even though he is playing a lot of Iana. I think, you know, he will be the main focus for Team Secret going into today, but also there's people that need to step up around him if Secret are going to make a real sustained challenge. You know, we saw Miracle have a bad day. Uport, to be honest, has had a bad couple of games on his introduction into EU League, and Falls, you know, had a bad very first day and picked it up since then.
I mean, he's been a little bit of disappointment for us, and I think that the game against Virtus Pro could have gone very differently if he had hit his shots. He had basically got 2 situations in 1 versus 2s where he missed his shots that could literally turn an entire round around. We had one round where he got jumping to copy and he misses his shots. He would have gotten the diffuser with 10 seconds left. He wins those rounds. So even if the round count wasn't that close against Virtus Pro, they didn't play that poorly, but they played far from great. So it's going to be a story of, can we cement ourselves as a top team in the group? If I look at the other teams in the group, I'll say they still make it into top 3 of this group. But then further than that, it's very hard to judge. They just need to step up on individual basis, because team-wise, I think they look pretty solid, at least in comparison to what they've looked like before.
All right, and in this group, Koi definitely did step it up as well. They need to make sure they get some points. And now, Fabian, you like to say things as they are. Their first play day for Koi, 0-7. Were there any positives to take away from that game?
No, not a single one. I mean, I really hope today that they don't play a map with a closet where they can hide in, or it's actually lucky. You cannot crawl into underneath any bed in this game. And that's really lucky, because the nightmare monsters that Koi will face, they will find them everywhere.
Oh, dear.
So hopefully they don't sit back and hide like they did last play day that they were in. I think it might have been really nice for them to just not have to play it immediately after, because that performance was just shockingly bad. They hid, they didn't do anything correct, and they looked worse than, I don't know, I've ever seen them look.
Here's the thing. It can't get worse. It cannot physically, well, unless they lose 0-7 again. If they get 1 round today, it has gone a lot better than what it went last week. And, you know, Koi, we came into the expectations last week talking about how they've got the balance to their team, bringing in 2 fraggers with Jigsaw and Hosty. They've now got the balance, crying into the Lark role. We expect Koi's playstyle to be up in your face, very aggressive, playing on, you know, 2 3-man little mini executes to try and take ground, take positions, and they looked scared last week. I know for a fact that the Koi coaching staff will not have allowed that to happen. I would expect Koi to come out today, whatever map they're on, however they're playing, to be in the face of the opposition, to be playing for crossfires, to be playing together and making those plays together, not in a closet 3 floors away hiding like we saw them doing last week.
It's just, even if the coaching staff tells you that, though, you never know how the players will react. Because if we see now that they lose the first 2 rounds, give it 2 rounds. If they struggle, even with all this aggression, you never know how
they've won a major with that same call, though. You'd expect the players to have enough nuance between the 3 that won the major to drag them through it.
There has to be a reaction.
You saw G2 at Gamers 8 after winning Invitationals. That doesn't matter. Mentals are mentals. You cannot control them. And if you have a bad time, you have a really rough time. I just hope for their sake that they step up above that, because they cannot come back with the same stuff again. And if they go even remotely close to struggling, they're in for a bad time.
All right, for sure. I mean, it's definitely, there has to be a reaction coming out from Koi, but I'm very curious what map it'll be on. The last time around, this game was a little bit later in the stage. It was on Border. It was really important for a straight shootout for the major. This time around, it does look like we're not heading to Border, we're heading to Clubhouse.
Yeah, so there's a curveball that was thrown for me. When I looked at these 2 maps, I thought we was careering towards a Night Haven, or potentially a Skyscraper. Now, I'm not surprised to see them in the late end of the banning phase. However, I was not expecting Koi to ban away the Night Haven. Both of these teams have left open Night Haven. And then I think Secret have been caught a little bit blindsided by that. I don't think they were expecting the Night Haven to be banned by Koi either, leaving the options of Skyscraper or Clubhouse. Koi are known traditionally as a very, very, very good Skyscraper team. It was a map that was a stalwart for them through Berlin 2022, the back end of that at least. So Secret have opted to go to a low preference map themselves, also knowing that it is a Koi low preference map. And I think that's, some of the mind games that get played in the banning phases. I would go as far as saying maybe Koi have won the banning phase off the back of that.
I have a hard time judging it because I think a lot of these maps where you can play really aggressive on, like Koi wants to, they ban themselves. So it's a little bit strange to me, but they have a plan with it for sure. And as you said before, with the Koi staff, they are smart people. They know what they're doing. So I don't think that this is a surprise for them at all. They knew that they could go to this map, and they probably decided they wanted to.
And you talked about Secret playing a bit top-heavy. How are you feeling about their new players, the new additions to the team?
Miracle did really good on the first play day, but Vods, I think he's disappointed me a little bit. When he came in here, I look at the roster and I was like, this player really stands out. He can do something really good. And if they can get this double support Brazilian duo to do really well and follow up on the aggression of the front line, then I think Secret can look really well. But Vods have disappointed me a little bit. Miracle is actually overperforming from my expectations, though. He hadn't been around in Tier 1 for quite a while, and he was a little bit of a question mark when I saw him being picked up, but I'm happy that he's doing good because then just all we need is Vods to activate.
You feel like in theory, like I said, the low preference for Secret on Clubhouse is obviously including Stage 1, where they didn't have this new Brazilian backline. Now, the one thing that I will say is Clubhouse is a good map to settle into that system. The Brazilians will know how to play it. It's it's a basic map for every single team. So I would expect both Miracle and Falls to be stepping up today, even in those backline roles.
I feel like there's still a lot of question marks we have about both these teams, but luckily with our game we should get some answers about how these teams should place themselves in that group. We'll be heading to Clubhouse with Fluke and Hap.
Thank you very much, and from the shiny new of Nighthaven to the pretty well-known club.
We're going to say Dusty.
Dusty. I didn't want to call it old, so I didn't want to accidentally insult any Clubhouse enthusiasts out there. It's a Dusty map. We know it.
Quite won a major here.
They did?
With what was that? The hamburger call? Is that come through?
I think so, yeah. It was we had the watch down from the Echo drone. I think it was Cryan popped up onto the bar.
Stepped up on the bar and
stepped up on the bar,
life.
if I'm remembering it correctly, back in Berlin. And it was the comment there from the desk of they did pretty much this stack did win a major, and then have also just 0-7 to their first game of this split. What's your point there, Fresh? Is it Fresh? Yeah, it was Fresh.
The thing is that there is no excuse for a team that plays Siege competitively to go 0-7 on Clubhouse.
True.
This is one of the most basic maps. Fundamentals. True. If you go 0-7 here now, something is definitely very wrong.
I guess that's the comment when it was sort of said it cannot get worse, and then
unless you're 7-0 on Club,
they could get 0-7 again. You could be 0-7 again on Club. So, it's up in the air.
It's a little bit of chatting going on.
A little bit of back and forth. They only have Iana on their accounts. Unfortunately, they're just not going to be able to play any other ups. Bedroom and Gym is where we're going to start here, and Koi will be going in for the attack. Will they be able to open up with a bang here? Because, okay, it is a well-storied, huge roster that has had some of the highest highs and lowest lows. We've seen them back in the old system struggle throughout a whole stage before. When will they shake off that first round?
Was it Stage 2 curse?
The Stage 2 curse. And Stage 2 doesn't exist anymore. So
it is Stage 2.
It is technically Stage 2.
Yeah.
So is it? I guess, yeah, Stage 2 does exist, but not as 2 of 3. Maybe. We'll see. This game will be decided. Anyway, when will they get that first round? And things will ease up from that point onwards.
Yeah, but it has to be sooner rather than later, though. You cannot wait too long here. And I mean, if this is going to be like an 0-4 and then they find a round, it might already be like too late at that point. I think we really need to be aiming at a 3-3 split here for Koi if they want to be finding themselves a good opportunity on the defense as well. But we'll see as we get started. It's going to be the bedroom and the gym room first. All these new calls and start stumbling over the old ones.
Gym because you call it the gym room.
The gym room.
Where have you gone to exercise? I've gone to the gym room. It starts in the strip club room.
Yes.
The Jigsaw moves across towards the
The bathroom room.
The toilets room. Savage is not too far away. He's about to find himself in the middle of 2 fights. He does not have much room for maneuver here, as suddenly it's actually 3 sides. The pressure onto Stock. He's trying to fight his way out. There's some support coming from Fools behind them, though. They might not know about that swing on main stairs. The drone is drawing a lot of attention. They do know. So Fools has bought Savage a second to get out. Miracle finds the kill onto Leon as well. Just had the coverage onto the window. And Koi, they didn't full send towards that player, but they put a lot of attention onto the chance of a kill there. And doing that, a great reaction from Secret saves the life and steals one of their own.
Actually wasn't able to fully commit out there. That was for Koi, because the player that was coming in from the main door, there was a Fenrir device right above it, actually blinding them as they walked through. And that meant it was only Jigsaw able to take that fight effectively at that point, and they didn't quite want to commit. Now they lost a member. They haven't got anything to return for it. They've even lost some heart breaches, which is going to be making it even more difficult for them to open up now. This grenade should be taking care of the Electroclaw. Got magneted. Oh, and the pipe will actually stop the shrapnel from reaching it. So a second grenade will need to be used if they want to be opening that up. But that's a bit too much, and they don't have it right now. So they need to find a different way to take it out.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the conversation happening there. The Selma was ready to be thrown, and then they've sort of gone, well, we need to do something different here. We cannot just break this through. We've only got about a minute left. And when you sort of think about where they've prodded, where they've poked, the holes they've tried to find, and the fact that they've lost their thermite, the limitations on the breaches they can make through were a lot more costly. Jigsaw, watching, was waiting for a fight, is instead going to swing their way up towards it. The new pickup is almost on the wrong end of that engagement. Groovy gets 2 of his own. Jigsaw is able to find 1 before Miracle swings the corner and find a second to keep pace. 3rd to put him over the top. And a strong opening from Secret.
How much ammo was in that TCSG? Just kept firing.
Never ends.
It just keeps going. It's only 11 rounds in that mag, able to find the 2 kills with it in the end there. And Team Secret managed to find the first round quite comfortably. Have to say, no real pressure onto the side. It was more of a Hail Mary push in the end there that Koi tried to attempt, because they couldn't get any of the walls opened up. Any pressure coming in from the hatch as well, as the rotation was coming through from that direction. And we're headed towards the next top floor side. It's going to be a Cash and CCTV. As, okay. If we talk about basics, this is as basic as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can't really move the goalposts any further back than this. This is, the goalposts are at the wall at this point, and there's no breaking through it. We need to see some success here. We need to see a battle. There it was. Obviously, they sort of let in, as you said, the Fenrir gadget stopped them getting the full swing. They lost the body on the back of that elsewhere. And then things started to piece apart. Groovy, they highlighted his great performance so far throughout the season. He gets 2 kills on the back end as Miracle keeps it locked down here at the top of the stairs. It's a very confident opening here from Secret. How long can they sort of keep this riding high?
Slight change in operators as Deepak is up towards the Dokkaebi Crane, now playing onto the Ace. Now, first of your objectives is always to open up this wall, the big wall on CCTV. Once you have that, suddenly you have a lot more to play with here. And Leon, he's just waiting for any support from his teammates, just checking if there's any active trickery going on, which will not be the case. Might actually be a mute jammer, but that's going to be about it. He's placing down his exothermic, might be blowing up at that point as he's rotated out. And that's step 1 done. Now you have 2 options. Either you go for constriction, or you try and take the garage under your control. You need to do one of those 2. And as Leon will find Files, that's going to be a great first opening from that breach.
Oh, Falls was obviously kind of behind the bomb chassis, I believe. And we saw him, I guess he tried to go for the rotate and then the swing back out. Maybe just got caught in the motion. Leon was happy to keep a watch on that, and it allows suddenly the rest of Koi to start acting against that anchor point. That big breach is open. They've got the player watching. Now let's focus onto Upor. See if we can try and root him out from the top of garage. Drones are rolling in from underneath. They've obviously seen some pressure onto the back of it here as Cryan's got the angle. They want to get rid of that echo drone. Good catch and good spot. Camera goes out as well, and pressure just builds and builds and builds. Hosty with the grenades underneath. Jigsaw with the same. Is able to take care of Miracle, and here starts the Koi machine.
It's going to be a great second opening now. They just need to leverage the number advantage they have. It's only 2 men left against the 5. Groovy will find the first, though. Uber still around on the mezzanine. It's going to be shut down, and that leaves it only up to Groovy. A play can now happen basically for free. No one is there to respond, and Groovy needs to find himself a way back up. Gets free fire through the wall. Crying shuts him down, and Koi, well, they show the world that they still know how to attack as they do take down CCTV.
They've scored a goal. They've got one on the board. Koi. Whew, take a breath and let's see how far we can go with it. It's tough. Obviously, whenever you're in the situation to sort of get that monkey off your shoulder of we've been struggling in the first game, here it is, the first one goes away from us, we bounce back instantly. They make sure that they step back into the fight there, and it was a very clean take. A couple of the sort of moments of Secret were punished. It was the great grenade play underneath. You said it at the start of it, there is no site in Siege that is better known than CC and Cash in terms of pro play. And that is the description of it. Very well sort of strategically played as the sort of back to basics take. But there's still a long game of Siege ahead of us. That's just the first breath. You know what they say? The single journey starts with 1,000 breaths. Something?
I think the Dutch saying is a bit worse. So
well, I mean, I messed it up on purpose, but I'm sure the Dutch... I'm sure the Dutch version is just as messed up.
I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something like the first step in a mile or something like that. But, like, I don't know. I'm not great with my Dutch sayings.
But you're Dutch.
I know I'm Dutch.
Oh, okay.
I never said I was good at Dutch. It's,
I guess that's right. I guess it's very true. I'm sorry to put the pressure onto you. Jigsaw is putting the pressure right inside. It's good to see them get on the go. Obviously, the new pickup, the sort of addition to the roster from a ping of 300 ping away, all the way in OCE to here. We want to see the import start to become that danger factor to a roster that once upon a time had it to the nth degree, that they were able to entirely get control of a major here. It's a steady pullback from Secret, just slipping away. The bullets that are spiraling and shaking over the shoulders. Savage does find Jigsaw, though, on the top floor.
great take by Savage out there. It's going to allow them to really put some pressure down, because the Capitao being gone is a lot of utility that could be very useful in an eventual planting situation. Think of the smoke bolts, think of the incendiary bolts that could be used to stop rotations from happening in a safe plant to be utilized. That means there's really going to be a bit of different pressure coming down right now on the side of Koi, because it's always been a difficult take. If we talk about CC being super basic, this one is kind of the same. However, the difficulty level just got up to the max, because it usually realizes or relies upon the hatch drops, which are just very difficult to deal with as an attacker. Are you afraid of a roamer still upstairs?
I mean,
there is one, but...
Yeah, I think that's the sort of thing here, is do you send the dedication to try and cut them out? You have to make an action, or do you trust that if you have a sort of net to catch them on, with a couple of players watching the rotates background, that you can still try and put the pressure onto the side? It seems like that's what Koi are doing, as the attention is paid through the impact EMP just on the back wall to get, you know, the Fenrir gadget if it's there, and anything else that might just be holding and stopping the progress. But otherwise, with Leon getting caught out by Miracle on the back end, suddenly that Roma becomes even more dangerous. They're caught out.
It's like to drop the hatch out there, and Scryne is trying to be really sneaky out here. Someone was watching for him, but he still gets the kill onto Groovy. Now he needs to dig in deep. There's no more holding back. 30 seconds. Savage is above on the hatch. Deepak seems to be realizing this, goes on the hunt, but that means that there's two players occupied right now as he finds the kill eventually, but the diffuser still dropped on the opposite side of things, and Deepak and Cryne are the last man standing in blue. They need to go all the way towards the dirt tunnel to find that diffuser, and there's still players around in the actual hallway here as Miracle and Falls both shot at them, and they should find the kills in the end as they get shut down in blue.
Yeah, it's sort of obviously getting off to the back foot at the start. There was that period of time where you could see Koi were discussing their options, discussing what they wanted to do, and in that time, you know, losing the kit, losing that push, it was a great attempt from Cryne, from Deepak as well, to sort of bite back into the round, bring that body balance back towards an even hand, but the pressure of time, the pressure of not having the diffuser is just, unfortunately, an added stress onto the gun game of this gun game. 2-1. Secret. They're able to claim 2 of theirs. We head back towards Jim, and this one again, it got off to a bit of a rocky start here. I'm curious to see what Koi's adapted approach will be.
I've actually found a Dutch saying.
Yeah. Did you have to search for the sayings?
I did have to Google
or was
that
it like
one.
a Sherlock sort of searching your brain bank?
No. I went to Google.
Okay.
It's when the first type is set, the second will follow. Basically, the translation.
That's just called tripping.
Yes, I guess. Or walking.
Or walking.
If you don't fall.
Yeah. It can be a little.
But yeah,
thing.
it's first step is set. So let's see when the second one follows. By Koi. So back up to gym. No longer the gym room, and the bedroom. Quick entry into the dirt tunnel. Jigsaw's trying to see if he can maybe find players that are around on the bottom floor, or otherwise sneak himself into that first floor so he can use those grenades for verticality. Oh, there's a player out there.
I mean, that's it. You've great use of the free cam there from our observing team. They're hunting down onto Savage, but how quiet can Jigsaw be? Now, obviously, Nook had a little bit of change on the gadget, but only really if you're actively being watched. It acts a little bit more like Vigil's. And Vigil's acts a little bit more like hers. Sort of a middle ground. Here, they're not going to mess up with the claw this time round. They're going straight for it. The cut round the Brava. To get the catch on any of those gadgetry as well. As we remember, it was the grenade that wasn't quite far enough, and it left Koi with very little option to get control of the top stairs.
Could be around on the rotate, takes out a drone, and Crying aware of that. To see if he can go on a bit of a hunt. Opened up the garage, though. It's definitely going to be giving away his kind of play here. Jigsaw going up, but it's going to be the proximity alarm that gives it away. Savage responds just in time to shut him down. And the entry is there for Secret.
All right, Koi. You lost the entry game before, but now we still have a bite onto the round. As I said, you have this route that you didn't quite have before. You can actually start trying to make some inroads directly towards the site itself. There is growth. Brian just going to slip his way past. Grooby's watching on the back end, still locked into rafters. He can try and make the rotate at some point, but Koi obviously just have to be, well, coy and coquettish about dropping out onto that balcony, especially with castles. You can see it's being watched whilst this is happening. They're going for the calls. Grooby still wins the fight onto Deepak. Even and Savage still rotating his way up main stairs. 50 seconds. 3 Koi players.
They go for a hot breach, but there's a player inside Jim, so they need to be very sure that they're aware of his position. The pings are there. They need to go for a good pre-fire now. Miracle looking to come around the corner out here. Will not find a first. The reply might be coming from the second, as Hosty will take his head off cleanly. Now there's an opportunity to go to Jim to go for a plant as Leon needs to follow, but Grooby will find Crying.
A 4 versus 3 versus 2, and they've been able to tuck themselves close to the site with 20 seconds. And how close they are, you have to try and take the engagements. There's at least a bite back, but not quite enough. And Falls removes Hosty from the back. The other recent pickup couldn't quite break through.
Now, luckily, there's always 2 house to a game of Siege. Although Koi's going to be calling their timeout now? Question mark. Yes, there it goes.
The quarter in the game now.
Quarter break. Need some time to talk because things are obviously not really connecting the way they want to. That is going to be hurting them the longer that goes on. So better have a chat now, see if you can fix it, rather than wait until it's too late. Find yourself knocked out of the playoffs opportunities. Because I think there is a world, I'm not 100% certain, but there is a world where Koi could be knocked out today.
Yeah, obviously it's the fact that they've only played 1 game, whereas obviously Secret have played 2 and ITB have played 2, that make things trickier. But because of how that game went, because it was a big round deficit, because of the slight change in the system where you've sort of got to be in the top 3 rather than just top 4 as it was last time, things are dicier here for Koi. If this game goes away from them, the gap between Secret, the gap between 3rd place, that sort of grasp goes towards Virtus Pro. They're on 3 points.
Yeah,
they
well,
still have a fight. They still have a game to play. It depends on the VP result.
Yeah, and while of course they don't play today, so they'll remain on 4 points, which means they're still in reach as they have a break today. So technically their story will not end today, but
it's close to.
It's getting closer if they do not win, yes.
Yeah, if this game goes away from them, it becomes in that horrible state of siege where the results at that point don't entirely just matter based on how you play, but also how your opponents in other games you're not in play.
Yeah, and you never want to be in that position. You don't want to be dependent on other teams playing in a certain way to allow you to get through.
You could play your best siege at that point and it might not matter. That's the rough sort of thing. And it becomes that even worse sort of moment of, well, we had the capabilities. But anyway, that's a throw forward. We're still in this game. The timeout has been called. It's 3-1. And you said at the start, Koi need 3 on the half.
Yeah, I would like to see them pick up 3 just to put themselves in a good position after their first game. They need that bit of an extra buffer. So as they're attacking CC again, it's going to be a bit of a ping coming through. So a grenade is being followed up by Hosty, I believe, as he was the one pulling it. I think he put it back in pocket after the rotation of Miracle came through. So he's no longer within reach. Exothermic on the board. It's going to be... no, that's going to be tricked. And that's why you bring a second heart breach. Where was Crying? Where was the Selma? Oh, he's on the other side of the map. But that just lost you.
It's not the greatest move to happen immediately after your timeout. It's not the greatest way to get your teeth back into the round here. And
the thing about EMPs is it's going to let them know, hey, we're going to try and open his wall. It's as simple as that. This grenade should be taking him out, though. If it hits properly, and that it does, Files gets taken down. There's no more bandit on the board, but there is still the opportunity from Electroclass to be out there, and Leon only has a single exothermic left on the board to play with here. Hosty does take care of Savage, and suddenly it's looking quite bright for the side of Koi.
hey, the good bite in here. Hosty, you know, he's sort of the other new addition, the pickup to the team to try and bring some of that gun game across. I highlighted Jigsaw, but Hosty has so far been able to really get his teeth in. I think that unfortunately not all the guns of Koi have been. Upor, I talked about him in this position before. You can try and isolate him, get the take here. It seems like Koi very adept at attacking this site though. It was the site that they took pretty well before, and they've at least come back from that initial stumble, but with 40 seconds, it's gonna have to turn into a little bit more of a direct route through. Upor gets one, gets dropped in response. The DPEC was ready for that engagement. There's a gadget just tucked around onto the barbs as Miracle rotates to see if he can try and punish it, and it's a huge double! Somehow got the cut across the pair of them, and that might have just swung the round. They saw the tip of the barrel here. They didn't quite get the motion. It's who sees it first. DPEC gets the take to the head. Groovy gets both back, and Secret cling on to the round, and that is a disappointing end to that one for Koi.
That is definitely a disappointing end to the round because, yes, they had a little trip up with the wall. They didn't open it up, but that's fine. They got 2 entries on the back of it. That is something you can still work with even if those walls are closed. If then a TCSG pops up like it did again, Groovy able to find 2 kills as well. It all just falls apart so quickly after that. That is definitely a painful moment right after your rehost. Now back towards the bottom floor, back towards the basement. Again, said it before, usually relies on like a hatch drop execute from the kitchen, or otherwise you're going to try and see if you can come in from the triple wall with the motorcycle drop. Those are usually your flavors for the approach here. Of course, with someone or 2 people coming in from blue, main stairs, making sure you have all angles covered. But let's see how Koi is going to be approaching this. Because last time they were...
5 seconds remaining.
I think they didn't even open the kitchen hatch because they lost a player very early on. So they tried to go from horizontal approaches, found some kills, but couldn't quite lock it out in the end.
Secret, they are just pushing this game further and along, and I know I sort of said it after the second round that it's good that Koi's getting their teeth back in. They've got that round. They might be able to bring it as a sort of back and forth scrappy fight, and as you said, it's a game of 2 halves. But if this round goes away from them, if they find themselves having to pull back on a 5-1, it just becomes that risky situation of every round has quite a lot of pressure on it. You only really get 1 lifeline. And it takes just one mistake to be punished, or one huge play from Secret to punish a good hold. And they're capable of it with this current momentum. Look at this. They're quickly trying to push them back to the side. Hosty wanted the fight. They're not going to sit around and find out. They're not going to play that risky game. They're all back. I mean, it's a great clear.
You cleared out the floor, so everybody's still alive, and this is the kind of turtle setup we are all very much aware of on this site, especially. Koi's still going to be clearing out physically the entire top floor, using drones, using utility, using their faces and their time. Scryne is looking to drop into the oil pit soon. At least opens up that door to put down a little bit of pressure. We talked about that before. You just want to open up those doors, even if you end up not using them. And look at that. They're just clearing everything so thoroughly on the side of Koi. They're losing a lot of time with that. A minute 30 left on the clock. You're almost done with the entire top floor. I'm not sure how far they've gotten with the first floor, but they still need to open up these hatches.
Stole the procs and stole some attention, but as you said, the focus is on the utility game now, and time is perpetually ticking against them. You've got still a couple of impacts to play against you. You can't really go for the smoke drop with the coverage. There's a C4 in pocket too, and you know, with goo mines and the potential chance of a barricade popping up, there's still going to be these malleable defenses that can be propped up and sort of put as a response to the approach of Koi. There will be changes. Hosty's going to roll the grenade out. It gets caught out. There's a second that might try and hit. Just remove that barricade on the back end of the table so nobody can get the direct swing when they come through. You cannot steal goo mines anymore with the recent changes. They are not electronic gadgets, unfortunately. But that was a very recent change. We'll allow them. What they won't allow is the entrance. Jigsaw, though, cuts his way through. Takes the header for two players. Cryin on the back gets two of his own. And now it's suddenly just Miracle left blinked. And everybody around him was dead. They're going to pop off the plant. Great take onto one. There's an even better one onto the second. 2 versus 1. He does not have a lot of health. He still has the C4, but he won't get to use it. Deepek gets the final kill onto Koi, needing a punchy round and punching right through it.
Very tight angle being held there, and indeed they needed to just go for it at that point. And well, sometimes all you need to do is drop down a hatch and just go for it. Managed to spot an opportunity there to carry out the keeper barriers. Explosives, of course, are going to be relocating the players in sight, and they utilize that well. Love that background card from Thatcher, by the way. Just a little side note. I was swapped with the teddy bear in the hand.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
And we swapped the sides, which means that Koi now onto the defense need to basically pull in 5 rounds if they want to get 3 points. And given to how they played last week, that might be a tall ask. We're going to have to wait and see how Secret is faring on the attack on the map as well. But what we do know is that we're starting off on the basement site. Mira is going to be on the board as well. Together with the Fenrir, might actually be proving quite problematic for attackers to move through those areas, especially if they're combined.
I guess it's one of the things, obviously, you know, we'll reference the Koi game from last time. It was on Chalet. If you missed it, it was against Wild. Wild started on their attack. But Wild's attacks that game were excellent. It was really, really fast, fluid siege. The plays, the ideas. If you do a play that's good enough for Fresh to put you on the telestrator, break it down, you know it's a good play. And that's the sort of plays that they were putting down 6 rounds in a row, 6 plants. So Koi were up against a very sort of tricky approach here. You've got Club, you've got a known entity on your side. You're up against a team that's still sort of finding their feet on the swing of attacks, and they're not quite defining it the same way Wild are. You should assume they're going to be able to get the first, maybe even the first 2 rounds here and bring things back level.
Cryin dropping out quickly in the back of that drone. Keeper's looking to go for a follow-up, but they're not quite 100% sure where he is, and allows him to rotate back around. Another drone, though, spots him out, and now they have actual information to play on. But everybody's rotating back already towards the bottom floor. No need to stick around. Hatches are being opened up as well. In Secret, they shoot now, or shoot soon, relatively soon now. But the top floor and the first floor are, well, basically cleared out.
It was very clean. It was very well sort of thought out there. If only they were a couple of paces forward, you'd think Secret might have got a couple of kills, but at the same time, that only doesn't work because Koi's retreat was very clean. You could see that they wanted to explore a little bit more there, and I think Jigsaw was sort of telling them to come back. We can fight them back here on the site itself. We can lock in. But Secret, how do they move on the back of this? The hatch is electrified down onto Moto. Cryin is jiggling around from the side of it. Miracle did flirt with the idea of going down main stairs, but has pulled himself back instead. The focus here might come towards kitchen hatch. You've got Jigsaw playing with impact underneath. As soon as that claw potentially goes, if they haven't killed that player, you assume Tricks will come back against it. But Miracle, I mean, he's been caught out the main stairs. Cryin with the long angle from Moto, and this is it. He went for the swing onto Churchwell, did get the pop of the Selma, but they've lost now those Selmas.
That mirror window being gone is definitely an opportunity for the attack, though, if they do want to go for a motorcycle drop or play from the main stairs. But the majority of the team is actually eyeing up to go from blue and see what they can do from there on out. The Fenrir device is going to be blinding Ruby, and they're slowing him down. There's only 30 seconds left. They need to take this aggressively, but there's still players around from Koi.
I mean, not many left now in the times of Secret that they are still trying to find hide and seek. It just seems there's always another player of Koi tucked into another corner. 13 seconds, none of it seen as Koi are able to lock out and hold down their first defense on the basement.
Pretty solid as well. They got close to the side, but didn't quite manage to enter it in the end there. Get used to the mirror window. Especially on the first take that we saw on the main stairs. Spot comes through, player swings from the motorcycle. It's of course not the one you're expecting when you see a mirror window. You think the mirror is going to try and take the swing itself, but didn't happen. And that's what happens when you do not open up those hatches, right? Like you do not have the pressure out there. Players allowed to play there for free. That's why it's so important to try and take those out, even if you do not end up using them. And I get it. There's limited utility there, especially with if you bring only 2 heart breachers or only 1 heart breach. But you should really try and focus on getting those 3 hatches on a basement take. Now, top floor, it is not CCTV. It's the side that we saw less and less of, but now seemingly coming back in this game. It's going to be gym and bedroom instead.
10 seconds to go.
Yep, I mean, no bar yet. It is always the sort of riskier one. As you said, CC's fallen a little bit, come back up a little bit, but, you know, I think that's still a tertiary and always will be for now.
Breach coming down somewhere.
Pinging things around.
Not sure would open up.
Yeah, I
Is that
think
a
it might
default
have been, might have been the windows on towards the side itself. There's a couple of pings that have come together. Yeah, I think it was the castles on gym and the bedroom.
Ah, yeah.
Yes, there it is. Both smashed up from the white van. That gets them the angles quite quickly. They're going to go with the Mavericks. They're not even going to try and play against the claw game and the trick. And, you know, if we cite the problems with hatches, if we cite the problems with getting this wall open and then going beyond it, the classic Maverick is one where if you've got the trick done, there it is, and the wall will fall. The wall can be fooled. Look at all 3 of them stocked and ready to go.
Yeah, there's still going to be a next step, however, that they need to deal with, because there's the mirror window right behind it that they need to grab. Oh, they actually need to destroy the electronics first before the RC Returo can go on. Will open up eventually, but that's a lot of utility still used for a softball like that. And now the mirror window is going to be able to look straight out to that balcony, so it's going to be even more hard now and difficult to get rid of the player right behind it as Deepak, well, takes down Files as they try, I believe.
First has fallen. They once again lose the ace, lose the Selmas. They haven't really been able to have the full bite of the impact. They do still have alternate hard breach and they've got the wall open, but it is a map that can be hard and heavy. It can become tricky. Ruby is able to win out against Cryin. Suffered the first strike. Leon gets dropped by Savage as well. At least they get some revenge. Put it back into a 3 versus 3. And with Jigsaw popping up round onto the side of Miracle, Upor has to try and make the move inside the site. Can't find Deepak, who is locking it down as you've always wanted.
Big T.
Dutch player. Biggie T. Be able to get it. Ruby will take a little bit of damage going through this. Not enough to knock him entirely out, but enough to give the game away of where he is. They'll hear the call of pain, and, well, 1 on main stairs, 1 on Logi, 1 inside the bedroom itself. What option do you choose? They're sort of saying, look, we know you're there. And there's 40 seconds. You're the one that has to push the presser of time. Pre-fires to get Jigsaw. Got himself some control here. 2 versus 1. He's had a huge game so far. He's 10-4, but obviously
Oh.
BET is another one that he knocks out, and it's now only a 1 versus 1. Hosty, all that's left, pre-fires through to give the game away on where he is, sees his foot, wins it out. It got very, very close from what was a sort of surefire moment, though.
Because they get closer, to closer comfort there, because they managed to get quite a few there, and then eventually just at one-on-ones, just take them. And that's why sometimes you see players say never give up, because there's always a round to win. If you see a round play out like that, you realize why that is. Like, all you need to do is just force yourself into these 1v1s and get yourself in a good opportunity to potentially win it. But we're having a timeout at 4-4. Secret is having a bit of a chat after Koi's been able to win the first 2 defensive rounds. Now, the tertiary side is going to be coming up next, and there's 2 opportunities for that. It could either be CC or it could be Bar.
I'm just going to ask some clarification from Patricia, if that's okay. If this is, obviously we see the timeout timer ticking. If that was their tech or their tack, because they called a tech.
They said tack, yes, so I assume
tech.
it's tack.
Usually they just use the pause timer, but they're not back in the game, so that might have had to be a tactical timeout.
I don't actually know what the rules are on that.
I think, I don't know. I'll wait for some clarification. Because usually, I'm saying this because usually it's a full pause. It looks like it's now full paused after the in-game pause thing. So, probably a tech.
That's what we call a tack into a tech. So a TAC into a TACH.
Which one? That's not in response to us. They're not omnipotent like that. There was a reference to a skin. But you all saw it in the corner. So we'll be back in with all the players hopefully very soon. It's 4 apiece. Hey, Elite Gadget brother, but I don't care.
So these players are like aware of so much as well.
Hey, if you don't follow the rules. Oh, it's a gadget skin.
I mean, it's like, yes, it's rules, right? But it's like it's instead of like the yellow one, it becomes bright blue.
Yeah.
But again, rules are rules.
So yeah. Rules are rules. Rules are cool, because otherwise you might accidentally end up against a team, and they'll. Who knows, right?
Who knows?
We'll be back in a moment. Hopefully soon. Hey, look, it's all our players. Jigsaw's gone.
He just left.
Gone. He's left, which is probably a shame because it sounds like
sounds like we're complete. Yeah.
that the missing player has just joined based on that little sound. You can see a heads up from Koi. Run, Jigsaw, run!
He's back in time. Don't worry. He's not even close.
Not even close. Back just in time. And we are back here. As we said, the tertiary site. Now, Groovy almost pulled off a huge round there to not have that level, but let's be honest, it should have been Koi's anyway. So we're 4 apiece. If Koi take this round, suddenly they're in the driving seat of a game where there's very little left of it to be played.
It's definitely true. There's not that many rounds left. It could go either way at this point. Tertiary side, CCTV is up next. Interested to see how the mirror windows will get used here. I assume it's just going to be towards the construction side, and second one, don't know. I mean, could be placed. Yeah, I was going to say could be placed on the CC wall because it will be opened up anyway. So what can you do? You open it up yourself, and then you throw impacts out, or you try and shoot whoever is rappelling through it. So I think that's the prismas we're actually hearing, rather than like the spots coming through.
Yeah. It's very, I mean, sound is a little bit funky in the top down. I don't know if it's just me that's...
No, that's the same for me as well. It's like you barely hear anything anymore.
It's very quiet. They're stealing this fake person. It's now their fake person. But once again, the drone gets caught out pretty much instantly. And well, they'll move on to the back of the break. It's CC. As we said when Koi were able to take it as the very second round in the game, it is one that every team knows how to attack. You can bring the steady, and to be honest, nothing is more classic than this attack. The Maverick going across, and although there's the mirror window, and they've opened that to make this really difficult to get the breach across, but also to sort of say, we might go for a C4 out. Upor has the tricky job of, I have to watch
He got
anything.
one already.
Yeah, and that's it. I'm not going to say it's an easy job. It's definitely a tricky one. And there's the breach onto the wall. The mirror window gets deployed inside.
You cannot really cut that in half. That just stays in place until you cut the other part out as well. So it's going to be making it a little bit more tricky to walk through or to get through. As Leon will find the very first onto Miracle. And you instantly see Savage hopping up because they're aware of the... that's just too late. And he instantly gets picked up on the back of it. Vods basically got him twice in a row there. Well done.
I mean, it's just that sort of moment, isn't it? He threw it, hoped they would try and be a bit slower, and checking it out on the back, you know, sort of smash the keeper and then go for a slower check. But they just had a drone in position and not to know about the swing. They caught him before he could get himself another 2-3 feet behind that keeper barricade. Out the Maverick, you assume that they've already done the work at least onto it, and they've still got some work to be done on the back. That's the risk here. The only hard breach they had was what was in those pockets. So anything on construction is going to stay solid. It means the fight has to come like this, very direct across garage. And if Jigsaw can win out this engagement, he's suddenly found himself in a second surrounded here. 30 seconds left, and what's he gonna do? He's popping around onto the Brava. Savage wins out in the meantime. Jigsaw goes in with the secondary and wins it out with the knife. Tucks tail. Deepek gets one, but gets traded by Upor at the same second. 20 seconds left. Jigsaw is the only player on the side of Koi. He's going for a long rotation here, and suddenly those walls that stayed locked, well, they're only going to work against Jigsaw. He's got to try and bite and fight his way into the site. Grooby's got the lockdown all the way across. It's a very awkward retake here.
Definitely is, and he needs to isolate these players, but they're really an opposite side of it. And well, that breach from the Maverick is definitely not going to be helping him. Needs to jump over, doesn't spot the player, gets swung on by Grooby, shuts him down, and means Secret is retaking the lead here as they head to the tertiary side and manage to take it down. But now we're back down towards the primary side from Koi, back down to the basement.
Secret just keep themselves ahead. Just get that 5-4 split. Just get that plant down in 2 versus 1. And, you know, there's things that sort of worked out there on that attack. But again, what I've noticed, it seems to be this consistent problem here on Secret's approaches is losing part of their hard breach. You know Club, and you know that you used to need all of it all the time, and then you used to need a little bit less when the sort of secondary hard breach gadget came in. But we're seeing the Ace go down the first 2 times. We're seeing the Maverick, their only primary hard breacher there against the walls, go down. I'm not saying it becomes impossible, but on a map like Club, it can really limit your options to have that be the first victim. And whether it's Koi getting lucky or just a little bit of, I don't know, a change of placement here from who hits the boards first in Secret, might see them have a little bit more control over the later half of these rounds.
See, I remember the days when there was only one hard breacher and he got spawn peeked.
Oh, Jaeger spawn peeking the hard breach and that being round defining.
Round is done. There you go. Back up now.
Don't we love the olden meta of Siege? Don't take Siege back to when it was great.
Honestly, Hibana joining the roster, that was probably like the biggest change, because you could bring two. Now you just spawn peek 2.
Yeah, Jaeger with a spawn peek can define a round.
Or Smoke with the SMG-11 ACOG, yeah.
Take the game back. All right, there's Falls getting the revenge on the spawn peeker. Cryin is caught out very early on. The Ying gets the take and gets the drop on the roaming player, who we saw and commented about the last time of playing that flirting with danger game quite well. Not so much here. The comment on Secret was if they were a couple of steps faster, they might have got the bite. Here they are, many steps faster, and Jigsaw is now in a dangerous place. There's a great first shot onto Grooby. About to be under pressure from the bedroom. Chooses wisely to rotate, hop right round, and there's the support structure of the Dutchman saying, get back.
Zuber now continues down the staircase. It is Koi just resting at the bottom floor, waiting for what is to come, waiting to see if they are going to be able to shut them down as, well, eventually they do start to attack this side. For now, it's just a bunch of barricades that Secret needs to deal with before they can actually start opening up these hatches. And secondary heart breach here, definitely going to be useful. Means that Miracle doesn't have to use 2 of his Selmas to open up any of these hatches. It's a bit of economy right there with that heart breach. And as they open up too, it's definitely some options that are being opened up right here for Secret to utilize.
They're being quite quick, quite brazen about smashing open these boards. I said it before, the dangerous swing here of the ace didn't cost them, but it cost them options. And with the hatches still being pressured and potentially put back against with the impacts that we have locked in here, Deepak might try and offer some sustenance, some growth to it. They've cut off the route that can come onto the back of Moto, but the Flores drones are going to get some clearance. It does buy some safety here because they weren't quite in position to get the swing back against it. And now with 2 options, with a route through and a shot, the impact will stop it becoming a full breach. Blinds come across the back end. They have to pull away. There's a player caught in a corner and caught in a crossfire. Miracle gets the bite onto Hosty, blinded on the back end. Jigsaw has to rotate to see if he can find the fight. Just misses the inch of it. 20 seconds. How are they going to break through into the site?
Deepak is very stuck in his position right now. Instantly gets taken up by Miracle. Jigsaw in a great position, finds one, and he knows he has the opportunity to go for a flank as he finds a third. And now Leon in blue will find one more as well. Uber, the last man standing in an 8-second 1v2 situation. He has that diffuser, but he needs to find the kills instead. Misses the opportunities on both ends, and the time will run out. Unable to find those kills, and Koi able to just barely hang on.
Skin of their teeth, but all that matters is that they get that round etched into their favor, 5 apiece. And if it's going to turn into a brawl here at the very end, it's at least going to be an exciting end to it. Who will break this deadlock? Will we find ourselves in overtime? Bedroom Gym is where we're going to move on to next. Now, again, obviously, this was the site where we saw success driven in by both teams on their holds. However, that response there from Secret versus the pace of the first time they attacked the basement to where we just saw it. 2 very different teams. Oh, I mean, Jigsaw is huge round.
Course coming all the way from OCE. Back there, people said he is. I mean, you can see in one of those interviews, he thinks he feels like he's one of the best players in the world. When he's showing up like this for a important game for Koi, I mean, it's not like he's dropping 23 kills. He's definitely on the top of the leaderboard for the team. He's definitely showing up. I mean, it's not a world record, I'm saying.
It's a little bit of a backhanded compliment there.
I'm sorry, but I mean, it's not a world record. Okay, no,
it's not like he's dropping 23 kills.
If I say, oh, the way he's showing up right now, people are going to be like, oh, it's only 12 kills. It's not like a world record. So I'm putting the disclaimer out there now. Like, it is a good performance that he's putting up right now. I'm just putting a disclaimer down before people instantly just attack it.
I'm sorry, but it is funny. All right, Miracle. Yeah, quick pace. As I said, it was that little bit of quick pace that they had before when they were going to the basement that gave them a little bit more option when it came to the push. It didn't quite come together, but losing out, even when you have a man advantage, is just one of those unfortunate sort of rounds. Fabian even said it about the previous game. If it happens more than once, then you've got a bit of a problem here going on. And if it happens twice here, then maybe they have a problem going on. Leon ready to C4 through this if it turns into an actual break. Yupor's going to put that on it, though. And he shoots through it.
So it's going to be shot through there because he wanted to. He just opens up for them. It's like, I'll take down your breaching charge. I'll put down a C4. Just make sure we're even. EMPs are being tossed through as well as a extra bandit. Oh, that's not going to be getting it. Mirror window is still closed though, so he has a little bit to play around here. But he might actually be shown, but he has the opportunity to still, use that one-way angle.
It's so narrow, and he gets a kill out the back of it. I mean, it really shouldn't exist as a space, and now it doesn't. But the fact he got that bite onto Yupor on the back of it is a little bit rocky. There's even less space, and he's finally caught out by Falls. And Savage get a bit of an impact here on the back end. Deepek's blinded. He did get a triple last time here, but look at the bodies flooding in on the back of that swing. They pushed into bathroom. They pushed down, but Logi gets caught out by Hosty. Rotates his way towards construction door. Miracle's holding inside bathroom, but Deepek gets a drop before his drop falls. Retakes the power position. Do they know where the swing? They do. And Jigsaw goes down. 2 players left here, Hosty and Cryan. They're going to see if they can try and get themselves a second a time. The pressure of planting is still obviously on Secret's side here, and they have the site. They're very tucked in corner of it to go for it, but it doesn't seem like Corey are fully aware of this plant, of this rotation. There's a big awareness of the player on the door here. They're baiting it out, and Miracle just times it well. Cryan has to step in. They've already pulled off the position. They round the back of the chassis. There's one. There's the return, and Secret push themselves onto map point first.
Koi decided they both wanted to be retaken from the same door out there, not knowing that whilst they were setting themselves up for it, the right angle was being watched. They were setting themselves up for plans and actually could get it down without any real trouble. I would have expected was them actually trying to retake Logi, then put the pressure on from 2 sides. That way a plant would have been a lot more difficult to achieve for the side of Secret, but they managed to pull it off out there. Now match point. A single round, which they have the opportunity to take a full 3-pointer from Koi and basically leave Koi still in the dust with 0 on the board. Whilst they have those 5 rounds, it's definitely a big improvement from what we've seen in their opening game for the stage. They're reversing wild. That means everything needs to connect now. No mistakes for this top floor hold. Again, we see the same mirror window popping up. We saw it played in that last round. It was basically basic bot time, like bot space. The space shouldn't have been there, by the way, that everything got popped, but it was just enough pixels there to stand behind it safely. But that's a mistake that happens once on the side of Secret, and the next time around they'll make sure they're not being vulnerable to that anymore. Cheeky drone.
Cheeky drone.
The freezer.
Love the free cam. I'm super excited because obviously I know sort of how our observers work when it's in the league and they're limited by a single one. When we have multiple observers and that combination of free cam and sort of in cam and all those eyes, imagine what we're going to see.
Be even more creative than they've ever been.
There's the first break. The importance and the pressure here is on Koi. They can push us into overtime. There was a little bit of that coordination. As I said, there was a pickup of pace, but things have not entirely slowed down, but hit a slightly different beat here because they know that they lost the body. Yeah, the C4 is ready to play against this, but it seems like the Maverick is aware of that C4 too. There's a drone watching. And the wall gets open from range. They're not playing against that wall again. They know what happened last time.
Now they just open it up as a bit of pressure, not really wanting to attack from there, but just to make sure that the players out there do not really have a safe rotation spot. Instead, they're going through CCTV. Savage is already inside, but there's 2 players hiding here inside of Cash. Hosty and Cryan both around. Cryan is about to be taken. 3 people as he ducks down for a reload, and now suddenly 3 are out there. Doesn't find any. Neither does Hosty. As Secret find 2 in very quick succession.
Spoiled for choice. You could see him flick between the different bodies, and you know he did so much damage to 3 different players, but if it was all on one you would have at least confirmed a kill. It's such a tricky moment. And now can they try and bite back? Leon, he held onto the spray hoping another shoulder check would come around the corner with maybe a head to get caught by a bullet. Nothing comes. 3 remaining players here of Koi to guarantee something from this game. Guarantee they move off the bottom of the board, potentially with 0. The first is Leon. You can see Groovy's a lot of damage there on the windows itself. Jigsaw's going to see if he can try and find a fight against them. Deepek's doing his best to hold on to Logi, but it's Leon with the swing onto the window player that gets rid of Groovy. Suddenly, a 3 versus 3, 30 seconds. And those 2 people that Cryan did a lot of the dirty work onto now are a little bit further down. There's the push down the stairs. Deepek makes the move. The initiative is his. Leon with a triple. When they needed him most, he shows up, and here's Savage. All that's left for the confirmed 3 points. The pings are the procs. They know exactly where he is.
Gets one.
Sees the back of Leon. Bit unfortunate, but Deepek's there. We're going to OT.
Almost managed to find a second one there, though, because the skeleton key was loaded. I think if that shot would have gone off, it would have been an instant kill on Deepak. Still managed to get a though, Koi. Well brought back by Leon Gids. Also well stalled by Deepak around there into logistics. Really gave them an opportunity to bring that fight back. And Koi, they continue on the defense. Church Arsenal first. Secret going to be attacking this, approaching this. Are we going to be seeing someone kind of push through the motorcycle hatch? Just go for a quick rush, a quick run?
All down now. Towards this moment, Koi, they've secured a point. We said that this was going to be a group of sort of aggressive fighting across the board. And yeah, it might not be the one that was labeled a group of death, but it's turning into one where we're getting these surprise results. We're getting teams that we expected to have clearer routes suffering. Secret have put in a hell of a fight and statement here. At this, they're at least guaranteed 4 points. Yeah, there's still a game in hand, but it ties them with Wild, who do not play today.
Attackers must locate and defuse.
They might even jump them.
All right. Secret. You got really close. You had a great opening to that round. Just all kind of fell apart after they tried to push through limited angles. And gets able to shut that down quite effectively. It could have been 3 points for them, but it's not. Koi now have the opportunity to find two. At least they're on the board. At least they have a point. As Jim is being droned out and the rest of the first floor is being droned out, it seems to be that it is relatively clear. Leon with a C4 though. Could be finding a player. All he needs to do is just wait a little bit longer, but that's too early. Or too late, rather. Miracle already moved by.
The ace gets to survive a little bit longer, and it's been a telling factor of some of these rounds when they have and haven't. The steady breach over the top. They haven't been able to get the catch on the loose player, though. Remember, when they had a bit more success here was when they did get that very early take onto Cryan. Now, with all the players falling back to the basement, they can play this hold. They can sort of rebuff an approach. They've still got the ideas of impact. They've got a C4 that works this time. Miracle's gone. The ace is gone. They've only got the pocket tin openers now from Fools. And you think about how they've had these holds before. That mirror window that they've just had the Selmas hit time and time again. You are going to struggle to get to that. Now they have nothing else apart from guns. Savage gets Jigsaw, gets that take. The two hatches they've opened are open. That's all they'll have.
Minute 10, still plenty of time. They just need to find the right angle in. Well, I think it just got spotted there twice again. That's going to be confirmation for a potential grenade to roll through. Cryan almost loses his life, but the drop follows up and gets the kill. And Savage now finds himself a motorcycle.
I mean, that was a very cheeky buddy to take there. It's sort of a bit of mispositioning. Savage is on his third. Groovy gets one more, and what really should have been a lockdown round has fallen away from Koi. Getting the take onto the Salmas, limiting how they could take you was such a good moment, and obviously they don't know that as well as we do, but just not being ready for that sudden slam of guns against that wall, hitting the mirror window. I mean, it was the perfect response from Secret. It was the only thing they could have done, and they did it successfully.
A grenade and an RC Retiro followed up by an aggressive player on the back of it. Really able to basically scrap that round for Koi. That could have been in the bag. That maybe should have been in the bag. Secret, they find themselves with another match point. This one is only worth a single point, though, as they will be taking 2 home rather than the 3 they had the previous opportunity to. And they'll be doing it and trying to do so inside that basement side again. Church Arsenal. Again, it's a very tough attack. The one push we saw happen was pretty similar to the previous one we've seen from Koi that was successful.
10 seconds left.
So Romer's up on top.
5 seconds left.
Again, it's going to be a clearing game. You need to find those roamers. You need to put pressure on them. They'll fall back. You know that the top 4 is clear at that point, and you might even be able to take 1 or 2 out as they start rotating back, if you have set up the angles properly for that.
The first strike is savage. He had a huge round previously, and here, just with a peek out of strip, he removes Deepek, he removes the Dokkaebi calls before things have even started to hunt down the loose players. The loose players have struck back. Leon's waiting for some motion here from either side. Groovy suffers actually first. That was pressure from Hosty on the swing round or not. Leon actually gets some damage done to him by breach on the back end. They've tucked themselves all the way down. They're gonna make sure they keep a handle on that man advantage. Koi now slowly have to check to see if those players have truly left.
Everybody was rotating up to the top on the side of Koi, and at that moment, as soon as everybody started knocking on the doors, instantly everybody went down towards the side, and that means the wasting time. That means that those players that all went up top weren't working on opening up hatches, opening up floorboards, or getting themselves in position to go for a push later on. So you've just wasted about 20 extra seconds. You still have everybody available to you. As now the hatches start to get opened up, it's Koi that it all relies upon this round. They need to take this one, and again, they might be trying to do so with a bit of a push for the motorcycle hatch, as they don't really have another opportunity of opening up those hatches unless Cryan is going to be able to get them on the hatches itself with the openers. The C4 from Miracle takes down Hosty. That's going to be even more painful now.
Exactly the same place. The C4 got a kill the previous round. There's another victim of it. And now the 3 versus 5. A minute for them to try and attack one of the most turtle sites. A nice little use of the Selma to make the hold onto the main door a bit more awkward, but it can be replaced. And yeah, they've dropped onto Moto, they've dropped onto Blue, but they're inside the Fenrir. They can't see. Cryan gets a kill. They're swinging around the box and just being peppered by either side. And Jigsaw, all that's left, he cannot move anywhere. And Secret finally push this game over the edge. They take the 2 points. They, for now, jump to the top of their group, and Koi move off the bottom of the board, but well, not very far. The only change is their 0 points turns to 1.
Painful there for Koi in the end, and I feel for Jigsaw in that last round. If he moved away from behind that boiler, he would have been blinded by the Fenrir. All other players were shooting at him. There was nothing he could do at that point. And Secret, well, they played it well. Could have actually gotten this in the regulation, I think, but at least they got the win in the end. They got those 2 points, and that means that they are en route to a potential playoff spot.
Huge game from Secret, but we'll throw it to a quick break before we're back with the desk.
I would say my favorite competitive moments in R6 have all been related to or around LAN events. The first LAN that I went to as a player is probably my favorite. I think it was the 2019 Winter UK Prime LAN. For me, I was brand new to competitive, and being able to make a LAN in our first season was a great experience for me. Whether it's been me going to LAN events as a spectator or as a player, they've definitely always been the highlight of the season or year for me.
Well, it would have to be winning the Berlin Major a year ago, because that was after like a long period of not winning like tournament and stuff. So I was kind of teetering on it, thinking like, oh, am I still good enough and all that kind of stuff. And then we won that match against FaZe also, is because it was just such a nail biter, I guess. Then obviously the fans, it was just crazy. Like I think we all said after that it felt like the crowd was like a sixth player to us. That's definitely my favorite moment.
My favorite memory is definitely the last invitational we played. I think the turning point was the match against FaZe. We were losing pretty hard, and if we lost that, we'll basically be out of the tournament. But we had a good timeout from our coach, Fabian, telling us we're playing like really bad, and it not only made me mad at myself, but it made me mad at him, because like how like he's saying this stuff, like everything just fired me up, and I just wanted to go out there and destroy the enemy team after that.
My best memory in Siege has to be the victory we got in the Young Company Major. the feeling to finally win something, like something big, right, was amazing. Especially like doing it with the teammate I was playing with for 3 years. Like it means a lot for us and for me, obviously. And I'm really happy to have done something that not a lot of people did in this game.
For me, my favorite moment is qualifying for Copenhagen Major when we was playing well at the UAL playoffs, and it was game for a slot on Copenhagen. But I remember that we were getting on the Chalet, and basically Chalet is not our greatest map, but we tried so hard, and the game was absolutely emotional. Everybody was so emotional, everybody was so screaming. That should be my favorite moment from the recent ones.
So I think one of my favorite moments in Siege actually was when I was still in tier 3, basically an on, and I randomly got a message one day from Fabian, one of the greatest players of all time, a legend, and he asked me if I would be interested in a project that he would make, and I am about joining that project. I mean, I own him a lot. He basically taught me how to play Siege correctly, so that's the reason I'm here. So just thank you for giving me a chance.
It took an overtime, but Secret do secure 2 points, and that means that they are on top of their group right now. And we should have an interview ready to ask a player a few questions about this game. We should have an interview just ready, I hear just now. So we'll start with a few questions about this game first. I think this map was really close. Some rounds were really close, but Koi also fumbled the bag sometimes.
Fumbled the bag, but couldn't have got worse. Wasn't the 0-7.
It was quite a mess on both sides, though. It just wasn't one side that struggled. They tried to be doing all of these extra steps and being super fancy. And me and Fresh were sitting here. We were scrubbing our heads and like, what the hell are they trying to do? What is like? We were looking at the breach and jacuzzi, and instead of just using Thatcher Thermite, they go Thatcher and Maverick, and we see Flores as well. And then it's the same thing with Koi. They can't even get it open with a Cade Claw and Bandit. What are we looking at?
Your basics.
It's super basic, and it looked so poor from both sides. Fresh, I'm stealing your quote because you didn't dare to say it. Neither of these teams really deserve these points. It's a rough thing to say because it looked like they missed so many things, and I think that today have added more questions to the ones that we already had. I still don't know where I can play Secret. And Koi, what's happening? What I expected of you guys is just completely other side of the continent, of the other world. Like, you could go back to Australia, Jigsaw, and you still wouldn't find your answers. I don't understand what's going on here.
All right, well, that's a bit painful. We do have our interview ready now, though, as I just heard in my ear. So we should have a player on the line. We're joined by Savage. You must be feeling really good after that overtime win.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but your cam is frozen.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, it's not really working, but should I just keep going with the camera?
Of course you can, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, feel good. I think we could definitely close it out, on 5v3 advantage. We weren't ready for like the most default play that is, play aggressive once you are in this advantage. It costed us maybe a bit of just an experience from being a new roster. Maybe if in a few months we do not lose that and we close it out and we get 3 points, but part of the game, so.
Of course, if you change players, right, you need some time to get used to that too. Last week against Vods Pro didn't really go your way. Was that mainly due to their playstyle, or did you actually change up a few things after that game?
Like we were prepared to what they were going to do, but I think we kind of got shocked after the first 2 rounds. Like we were really confident for going towards the game. Thinking that it's going to be like a easy game, quote unquote, because like they are like a team that repeats whatever they do, like, and doesn't really change a lot, doesn't really adapt. But we kind of got caught off guard, especially with Fasty was like doing a lot of new plays and like finding a lot of good gaps for them. And I think it was more that like not being able to react back to the game. And at the end of the day, like we played with a bit of pressure as well. Like after these 2 rounds, that were kind of go to us, and we weren't able to shook it off. And it's again part of the game, part of the inexperienced roster, and we learned from it.
All right, that's a good thing. Now, with this overtime win, you're actually currently first in your group. That means that goal that you said in our first interview is coming closer.
Yeah, I told you guys. You shouldn't doubt us.
All right. But you have a day off tomorrow, though. Are you happy with that, or would you want to have continue your momentum that you have right now?
I mean, I think it's, considering like how much time we had off, like I think, like if we had another day, like I think it would be good, but definitely like having a day off and, just watching what the other teams, what they do, and having just like some time to rest is like, it's always good and to prepare. So I'm happy with it, obviously, but if we didn't have a day off, it would be the same for us.
All right, okay, that sounds really good. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your evening, your day off tomorrow as well, and we hope to speak to you again very soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
See ya. A good interview. Made sense, obviously. Mentioning the game from last week didn't really go their way. They said they could have closed out this game as well. Do you feel like the same? They could have closed out, should have closed out potentially?
I think the way that Koi were playing, I don't think Koi played very well today. I think a good, a top tier UL team. Most of the teams in Group B, probably Wild and VP, would have beaten Koi in regulation today. So it definitely resonates with me what Savage is saying there. The fact that they got the 2 points they'll be happy with, because it will just keep them rolling. They will more than likely be in the deciders phase. They will get the opportunity to compete to go to the major. It could have been better, but they got the win.
And it's really good that they understand what it is that went wrong in the regulation when they were in 5-on-3, that they can spot that they already struggled with basically playing against the most basic thing. Because when you're in 3-on-5 at a disadvantage, you have to get the refrags. And that's just exactly what Koi did. And Secret knew that without even having the debrief. They knew it immediately that they messed up and that it was on them that they didn't win those 3 points today, that they only got 2. So it's a good thing. I think also Uper had a bit of a struggle this game too, if we can see Uper starting to perform up to the level, because I expected more of him, and I think that we all know that he can be a much better player than he is showing right now. He needs to step up, and if he does that with a Team Secret that has more fragging power in combination with actually being a team that learns together and they're improving constantly. But they still have a really hard match coming up, right? So it's they're going up against Wild, if I'm not mistaken, in the last game. So it's a big story because Wild and Virtus Pro are also playing each other, which is next play day. So it's important games that are coming up for all of them. It's like they have this little internal trio on the top.
For sure, indeed. Very important points are in that top of that group. But also in the overtime round, I feel like Savage had a really, really clear signal to, hey, we got to overtime, but this round's mine. Yeah,
I've got a clip that I want to roll, and I want to highlight in both Savage and Grubby here. Now, Savage makes an excellent play. He's just got a kill from the vert in kitchen onto Jigsaw. Now, obviously he's playing the sledge, so he's got to do the vert roll. What he does, excuse me, what he does is he actually plays instinctively off the back of a nade. You see him pull a nade here out to try and clear the angle, sees the feet, pulls the nade. What he does, he drops straight away off the back of the nade to secure that kill. Cryan actually survives the nade. Savage gets the kill and swings, and then he's ready for the swing. Now, Grubby, playing the floor has caused a lot of issues on this basement attack, alongside Savage giving the information. Sets Savage up for that triple kill. Savage walks in and gets the quad kill. Now, that's a quad kill, but 2 of those kills have just come instinctively, and then 1 of those kills has come off Grubby, who had his Iana banned away, still managed to maintain his 2 KD, set Savage up for that final kill with the droning on the Flores drone late into the round.
And that was the big difference between the 2 teams, I think. Even though I don't think Secret played a great game, they at least played like a team. And I think that so many times we saw Koi running around the map, but it just didn't seem to make sense, the stuff that they were trying to do. Being on the other side of the map, I mean, you were screaming your head out because the Ying is throwing candelas, and we see that Warden is on the other side of the map, hiding in the closet, knocking for the monster. Yeah. Where are the monsters? It's just, you need to be better than this, Koi, and you need to communicate much better than that, because it looked messy, and it's sad to see.
You make it sound so simple sometimes, but that was your second matchup of the day. We're already halfway through our day, and our third one is supposed to be a banger for sure. It'll be the top 2 teams from Group B, G2 versus Wolf, after this quick break.
Secret finally pushed this game over the edge.